No! No! You! But I want to. I'm Marilyn Harris.
And I'm Percy Smith.
And this is Victoriously Crazy Podcast.
Yes.
Last week we did Driving Tori Crazy, where we talked about that episode. Well, this week we have an actor joining us.
Oh, yeah.
Who played a character from that episode.
Yeah, that was
Welcome, Marcus. Is it Folmar? Did I pronounce that right?
Folmar.
You nailed it.
Oh, Marcus, you played Dr. Rhapsody, the rapping party bus driver. I know it's been a while. Are you excited to get down to memory lane?
Absolutely.
Oh,
And I don't have to go so far back to go down memory lane because this character has a life beyond the years ago when we did it. So I don't have to think that far back since the last time I heard the name Dr. Rhapsody or heard Five Fingaz.
That's right. It's my favorite. It really is. That's right.
My favorite episode.
So I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, that's so good to hear. Now, Marcus, you've done a lot of incredible things, but before we get to Victorious, let's get to know you. Yeah. How old were you when you discovered the actor in you?
Oh, we have to go quite far back because I was a bona fide child actor. I'll say bona fide-ish because I was not in LA. I think that was the only thing holding me back. But I grew up mostly in Colorado.
Okay.
And I would say sixth grade is when I decided this is for me. And by ninth grade, I had done my first professional acting gig on a show called Father Dowling Mysteries.
Wow.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Here's a Hollywood show that came to actually film in Denver, Colorado.
Wow.
Okay. I remember that.
Yeah,
I
You remember Father
that.
Dowling?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Tom Bosley of Happy Days fame
Yes.
played Father Dowling, who was a priest, father meaning priest, at this church, supposedly set in Chicago, but for whatever, I think it was health reasons somehow, it was better for him to film in Denver than it was to actually film in Chicago or elsewhere. And so they tried to make Denver, Colorado look like Chicago.
That's a stretch.
Did they have a wind machine?
Well, it worked. Like the downtown areas and city parks worked pretty well. But it was like a sort of action adventure show. He was like this crime solving priest. So at times they would have these car chases. And if you watch carefully on the horizon, you can see like mountaintops at times. And it's like, I don't know what part of Chicago this is, but yeah.
Yeah, we went there. I didn't see any mountains.
The wonder of film. I'm telling
you.
you.
Saw a lake, right?
That's funny.
That's
so
where
funny.
I started. I started way back then. So call it sixth grade or ninth grade. Like sixth grade started it with a play, but Father Dowling sort of cemented that this is what I want to do.
All right.
Wow.
So you're an excellent actor. Any formal training?
I started classes. There was a group in Denver. I had done like training from ninth grade all the way through high school at this Kid Skits Conservatory was the name of it. Then I went to Northwestern University for my schooling. And so that's where I trained. And that's also where I sort of, because I had been acting and training as an actor for so long, I sort of expanded and decided to ultimately major in film versus doing, the theater as my primary major. But I still did the whole acting program, still got the benefit of all the great student theater that Northwestern, which is really well known for theater.
Yeah.
And I was in Chicago. I'm seeing like the through line, like Father Dowling, Chicago, imitation Chicago led me to the real Chicago. And that's where I trained there. And then, like Second City stuff, like I kind of have a,
Chicago,
attraction to the comedy side. I do both, but I sort of lean towards characters and comedy at times. So yeah, some of that.
I know that's right, because I know you went to Northwestern. You have to be smart.
That's right.
I know that's right.
They don't let
You can't let
anybody
anybody
in.
walk up. You can't walk on the campus.
Right?
Yes.
No. They check your transcript to even walk on there.
I know that's right.
And your credit score.
Oh, well, I'd never get in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So they had what, 2% black folk? No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. But that's what an awesome
Your credit score,
experience.
awesome.
That
Yeah,
sounds
it is.
great.
Wow, that's great, man.
Do you have an actor that inspires you or a favorite actor?
Ah, good question.
Oh my goodness. I have a lot. I mean, the first person that just popped into my head when you said that was Don Cheadle.
Mm.
Oh, I love Don Cheadle.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
He's like one of my favorites because I love the way that he, he's sort of a character actor. And I love the way that he can do comedy sort of brilliantly and then take it over here and hit that drama note as well.
Yeah.
So for his versatility and just like the choices, I think that's a big deal in terms of actors. It's like, what choices are they making? I think it's part of what we fall in love with without really being aware of it. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of talented people, but there's choices that you make that kind of give you roles, whether it's the main role or whether it's a supporting thing, but there's something about it that makes it stick in, like the consciousness of the world.
It has to resonate within your skills and how you see yourself.
Yeah,
as an
exactly.
actor.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's good to be like that because the opportunities come and you don't create all the opportunities. Sometimes you have to be ready for no matter what it is.
Wow.
Exactly.
So, opportunities, man. Dig it, right?
I love that answer.
I know, right?
Well, let's dive into Victorious, or should I say drive.
Oh, here we go.
What do you remember about this role as Dr. Rhapsody finding you? How did that come about?
Well, I remember getting the audition, and I think it was in the the breakdown when they put out what the character description is. The rapper Sir Mix-a-Lot was
really?
referenced.
Yeah,
and so that was like, and we know Sir Mix-a-Lot, baby got back.
Yes.
And so that's where I was like, Sir Mix-a-Lot, he had kind of the voice. So I right away was like, yeah.
I noticed that.
Be like Sir Mix-a-Lot kind of flavor. I stole it from him, essentially.
Oh, for sure.
And I remember, going through my, because for a lot of things, I don't necessarily, if I'm auditioning, worry about doing a whole costume. I coach actors and I tell them, those that get really worried about, what do I wear? I was like, it should come more from your essence than the costume. But for this character, I do remember going through like making myself like a big chain. I was like trying to channel the 90s sort of hip hop flavor.
I love it.
I think I did a Kango, like a LL Cool J.
I was going to ask.
Kango. And I was like, yeah. So that was the extent of my research, but I did that. And I just remember having a lot of fun with it. And, sent it in. And the next thing I know, I was like the choice. And I've done a lot of stuff with Nickelodeon. I think that was one of the earlier things. I feel like that was the second Nickelodeon gig I had done. So I was already sort of in the mix of, the talent people there. But then that gave way to many other things that I've done with Nickelodeon since then.
What a blessing.
So before you went on, you were familiar with the show itself, right?
It wasn't a show that I honestly had watched, but I knew it was happening. And I got way more familiar with it because it's like, as an adult, I don't typically turn on a lot of Nickelodeon, But it was one of those shows that after you kind of see it, you're like, wait a minute, like this is funny. Like this is actually relatable to more than just kids. So I started watching it more after and became more of a fan of, and all of those kids were so talented.
Oh my God!
They really got like great cast, hilarious people. I mean,
and well written.
Well, yeah,
and well written.
What was it like when you first got on set, and who did you meet first?
Well, I was, I've done a bunch of stuff by then. That was a case where, well, honestly, it was. We know this in entertainment industry. It's always, they call it hurry up and wait.
Yes. When they give you a trailer, don't get excited. Know you're going to be waiting a long time. Yeah.
And I found that to be particularly true when I'm not referencing necessarily my experience on the Victoria set, but just working with young people and kids in general.
Yes.
Like they've got a limited time where they can be on set by rule. And so, I've had times where I go in thinking, oh, this is going to be a short day. I just have like this one little scene. And then, it's in the order. Then everything gets remixed last minute because we got to get these kids out of here in a certain amount of time. And so you're seeing, you were ready. Like you were marching in the set. And they're like, no. Go back. We're going to wrap these kids. And then you're going to do your scene with, maybe even the stand-in or something. Their coverage. We're going to shoot them doing their lines and stuff. And then when we shoot you, you don't know it at home in the viewing audience, but this is just a little short adult that you're acting to because the kids had to go home. But on Victorious, it was the end of the day. I just remember that they had a bunch of stuff to shoot that day, but the thing with the music video and the all came at the end. Mm-hmm. And with all those performances, there's a lot of coverage to get, this side of the bus, that side of the bus, the back of the bus. Every time they're doing this, it's like a new setup. And so it took a long time to do that. And I just remember I had to, when you go back and watch it, know that all of the cast, they got a lot of takes to get their stuff right. When it came time for Dr. Rhapsody to sing his part, you get like, you have to be ready.
All right. But we want to go home. Okay.
We want to go home. I think I got 2 takes. It was like, get it, be ready.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Get out. But it was great fun.
Wow.
Hey, that's like coming off the bench. With like 30 seconds left.
You've been watching the whole
and you
game.
Gonna hit that ball one time. You do it.
Yes.
My favorite lines, I got the radio mix, I got the club mix, I got the radio club remix, and karaoke.
And karaoke.
Which one you want?
Yeah.
Had it all.
I know that
like
was
a
funny.
buffet.
But honestly, it's about making your moment, right? Because you can have one scene and have people remember it for years to come.
Yes. And I didn't realize this was a case where I did the scene and moved on from it. I think the first time it kind of came back to me, like it was, I think maybe one of the kids at my church. And I'm not talking about like years ago when it happened. I'm talking about like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
Are
you?
Yeah. I know. Why y'all staring at me?
Get excited.
I was like, are you on? And honestly, I was thinking, they've seen 100 Things to Do before high school, which was I think was out at that time.
Right.
But no, I was like, okay, the Thundermans. He saw me on the Thundermans, and he's like, no. I was like, were you born when that was done? That was like years ago. He's like, no, you're Dr. Rhapsody. And just lost his little mind. And I'm like, so old. Like, how do you even know about that? And he hadn't even seen the show. The YouTube generation, like he had found the clip on YouTube or shared it or watched the show, it was YouTube. And I saw it at that point, and it had so many comments, like current, recent comments, not from when it came out. So I was like, oh, I coach actors, primarily like adult actors, but I also have this program I'm a part of through actually Northwestern, just kind of coincidentally. Everybody involved is not from Northwestern. I just happen to be. But we go into the high schools and we teach playwriting. And for like 10 classes, we kind of coach the kids through writing their own like 10-minute play. And at the end of the program, they were like, oh God, I gotta get this for my TikTok. Can I get you doing the 5?
Do the 5 out of all this stuff. That's what they want.
Again, the same question, like, how do you even know about that? But it was trending on TikTok. I was like, 5 fingers to the face.
When your work carries that kind of significance and just never dies and just keeps going, it's crazy. It is really crazy.
I love that. So did you have a table read?
Yes. Table read was the first time that I saw everybody. And then I think I came back for the day of shooting. I think it was all done in one day, except for the table read. We did the table read. And then I think I came back for the day of shooting. On other sitcoms, like, you're there possibly for rehearsal days and blocking and stuff leading up. Now, Andre's grandmother at that point, I mean, how long had we known her in the world of the show at that point?
That was kind of down the line in the show, wasn't it?
It was pretty far into it. I mean, because you did the thing about Andre's grandma, and I mean, Marilyn, you've said this so many times, but you did what was it, 6 or 7 episodes?
I think it was about 7, and then the webisodes that I did.
You did the first one though, right?
The pilot, I was there, and that's what I was booked for originally.
It was very scattered out, and so at that point you were well known because they kind of would have her for an episode and then not have you back for a little while and then bring you back, always kind of spreading it out, right? So we had known you for quite a while.
They spread out the crazy.
You gotta like too much pepper. Like, I love pepper, but if you put too much on an egg, scrambled eggs or something,
they love crazy. But Tori went from one terrible car ride to another, and then you saved the day with that party bus.
Oh yeah,
and 5 fingers to the face. What was your reaction when you saw the party bus on set? What did you think about that?
I thought it was just really cool. Like, we had a real sort of van. I remember thinking, do I have to drive this? I was like, or is it gonna be like a fake driving situation? And I don't even remember the answer. I can't remember. I don't think I drove. I don't think I had to, or did I have to drive?
I think you were acting like you drove, and they probably had like a fake. At least in my scene in the car, it was fake. They did the what do they call it? The wonder of TV to make it look like.
I think there's rocking going on.
That's right. Yeah, you was
there's like a little rig to sort of rock the thing and the blue screen and And I thought what was really cool about it, when you come in as a guest player on any TV show. A lot of times you're in the scene with this character or you're in the scene with that character. So you're only in a sort of fragment of what everybody loves about the show. But in this case, it was one where pretty much the whole cast was there on the bus together. So it was pretty special to get to, be in a scene with all of those guys as opposed to just like, okay.
Speaking of cool, your character was a cool rapper who had a one-hit wonder. And what was it called?
5 fingers to the face.
And the cast loved it. And what did you think about the rap when you first heard it?
I mean, I thought like this could be a hit. I remember thinking as we were taping it and rehearsing it, they had done a great job. Like the kids were dropping their verses and lyrics and everything. I was like, they got flavor.
Yeah,
I was like, they got flavor. That was really my reaction because I just thought this is actually a good song.
Do you remember the lyrics? Do you want to drop some of it for us?
I remember my part. Let's see.
Here we go. Here we go.
No, I flaunt ya, cause girl, I really want ya. Freeze. Stop. I should have practiced in preparation.
Oh, no.
You didn't.
In retrospect, I should have seen that coming. I should have been able to drop the whole thing. Because that was me. Like, you know, in the story world, Dr. Rhapsody obviously should have known all those lyrics. But in real life, I just had to do that first part. And then I passed the baton to the rest of the cast. Now you got to see a lot of my chair dancing. I remember some of this. It was just like, yeah. It was all in that flavor.
Yeah.
So that was all you, that physicality and that chair dancing.
Physicality, I was bringing that. And that was my own interpretation. Nobody choreographed, you know.
Yeah. Get that hand up there. I love it. Oh man, what fun!
I know.
Marcus, you know what else I love about your character is that you mentioned what it was like to be a guest star and to sort of have a scene with everybody. But another thing I thought must have been really special for you is, in this case, the characters that they were all playing, which they were obviously in every episode, but they were sort of supporting and getting all excited over your character. In other words, the character you played was the person they were getting so hyped about. It's like, oh my gosh, you're the man of the hour. You're the person that we're so excited to see. And it almost, I feel like, was so perfect that you kind of stopped singing your own lyrics, because it just goes to show this is my song that everybody knows. I don't have to sing it because they all know the words.
They know it. They know it.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know any of it, Bennett? Do you want to drop some lines?
Don't be surprised.
Come on, I know you know.
Watch him.
Do
Come
it.
on,
Now
Bennett.
freeze. Now go. Drop it fast and move it real slow. Oh, what?
I knew it. I knew Bennett was going to do it.
What you just said, Bennett, is totally true. And I never thought of it like that. But, I mean, generally this is just for acting in general. Again, I said, I coach actors. And I really say, you know, even in terms of preparing for auditions and everything, going in, you are there 9 times out of 10 to sort of serve the scene and to sort of set up the main actors and sort of put focus on them. And, you know, I mention that because it's kind of smart if you can figure out the way in which to best do that, or how to best make them look good is a great way of you getting the job. So you're right. Like, most times you're there to sort of serve the function. It's rare that a guest actor coming in really gets that spotlight, like it's about you. And so, that was cool. And I think that is one of the things that made the character and the experience memorable, because it's kind of like, you know, everyone's focus was like, hey, check out that driver. It's like, what about him? I think that's Dr. Rhapsody. I think I remember the lyrics of the dialogue of the scene, probably better than I remember the actual lyrics of the song. But I think that is Dr. Rhapsody. Are you seriously that rapper, Dr. Rhapsody? The one and only. Why are you driving a party bus? My wife left me, you know, and I only had one hit song.
But you had a lot of versions. But not only do you have a lot of experience working on Nickelodeon with the Thundermans and all the episodes you did on Drama Club, you've been on Big Bang Theory. I got a list here: Blackish, Shameless, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Watch out there now,
dude. You're on fire.
You on fire?
I mean, you really are. Man. Do you have a favorite character out of all your past work? I think I might know the answer to that.
That's a good question.
Well, I wonder what you would say.
What would you say, Grandma?
Dr. Rhapsody.
That is the right answer for this podcast.
That's right. It's all about Victorious.
Maybe I'll plead the bit. I love Dr. Rhapsody. You know, to be honest, I'll do like a little, this is honest, but also maybe a little bit of a shameless plug at the same time.
We know about what you created. We know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Work it. Come on.
We
Come on
know. We know.
I did a web series called Alleyway.
Yes.
And you can find this on YouTube, or you can go to alleywayseries.com and find these 20 episodes. I love my show that I did because it is really just something organic that kind of came, but it really shows my, I write as well, sort of my comedic sensibility and just, what I find funny. And I also love that because I feel like, as a professional actor, even someone like myself, who I feel like I have a pretty viable career, I'm not a series regular yet, haven't done that. I, recurred on some shows. We don't actually spend that many days doing our profession out of the year, like 365 days. Like most, if you ask like accountant, they're going to work. So they're accounting 5 days a week, 4 weeks. So they're spending at least like 20 days accounting a month. As actors, if we're acting 20 days out of the year, that's a pretty good year.
You feel blessed, yeah.
Producing my own show and just having the ability to be doing the thing as much as I did it in order to get those episodes out, I feel like I just grew so much, doing my own thing, even though it's not on this major platform, but it gave me the reps that I needed to really feel confident on another level, which then I can take that down to, Blackish when I'm on set there, and I can take that down to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I can really go in and let my light shine.
It's an interesting name. How did you come up with that?
Well, it is, a lot of it takes place in the alley behind my building. If I was to walk you, I mean, you said that before.
Yeah.
It's if I was to walk you through the apartment, you would see the primary setting for Alleyway. And it was really something that was born out of years of me and my neighbors kind of, my back window overlooks, if you look out my back room window or the kitchen out there back, you can look out onto the alley and we just hear different voices and things going on back there. And like, go look. Like, what is it?
We've lived off an alley before.
Right. Yeah. But I think my alley is the perfect amount. I mean, it's got just like the perfect amount of sketchiness to it. It's not like, you don't fear for your life,
but something's going on.
Alley, but it's still got a lot of flavor, colorful characters, and everything, just the right amount. And we were like, "This is a show back here," and so I ultimately decided to make it a show, and it's basically about me as a writer. So it sort of mirrors real life a little bit, but a guy who comes to LA and basically is comes to LA with the promise of a contract. Like he's a writer, he's got something that people are interested in. And, as we know, Hollywood,
ups and downs.
Everything shifts.
Yeah.
What's true in one moment is not necessarily true in the next.
Yes.
And so it's about what happens after he almost makes it, but then ultimately the deal falls through and he's left trying to figure out what to do next. And so that's where we find my character, Bernie is his name, at the beginning of the series, sort of, and he's so sort of down on his luck that he no longer can afford to go to, these fancy coffee shops and spend like $6 on a latte. So he makes his own coffee and he sits out on the back stairway, and that's where he writes or searches for his next great TV idea. And, what he observes and the stories that he encounters and the characters that he encounters coming up and down the alley as he sits down back there and tries to figure out what's next.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Really,
we're gonna check that out.
Take what you got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take what
I
you
love it.
Please do. It's it's funny.
I might see my crackhead cousin in that.
Watch
alley.
out there now. don't.
The characters, I will say this: like, if you go watch, most of the characters are rooted in real life people that I've seen back there.
Oh yeah.
There's a character named Carmen, and she she collects cans, from the recycle bins and sometimes the dumpster, and people do that.
Yeah.
But what makes her interesting is like she's glamorous in doing it. Like how do you make it glamorous? Like she wears these long wigs and it's like just so flinging of the hair, and she's a bit boy crazy.
Yeah.
I just those cartoons back in the day where like the wolf would be looking at, or that turns into a piece of meat.
Yeah, and they'd be drooling over it like
right.
They're ready.
Biggest steak.
I had never experienced that until our local can collector would come by, and she'd just be like,
"Oh, she saw a meal. She saw a Marcus snack." You're like,
and she'd just be like, "Hi,
hey,"
and I'm like, "Hello, how are you?"
I know that look.
Thank you for saying good afternoon. You can.
Carry on.
And then you get in your apartment and lock the door.
That scene, like you see our character like kind of like leaving, but slowly like
giving you that over the shoulder like.
That is a real thing. So I have fun with it.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that's probably my favorite role, but I've had a great time. I mean, Frasier was one of my first sort of big thing that I did coming to LA. Wow. And that maybe still is the best on-set experience because I don't know, I felt like, I'm just new to LA, I'm just some kid actor, and they made me feel so warm and included. Oh. I was like, this is Kelsey Grammer, and
Yeah. I heard he's a nice guy anyway, so that's nice.
It also scared me. The cast, this is a little insider thing. The cast made me feel great. But that was also the first show I saw someone be fired from. So I was, yes, you mentioned the table read. I'm giving you a little insider, the dark side of Hollywood. Those table reads are important. Very don't go to your table read thinking like, I've got the role. I just, whatever.
It's a test.
It's a test.
Yes.
Those jokes have to land. And, the writers use it to see like something's working.
Yes.
If something's working. And if it's not, they might go back and rewrite it. But if it's not working and they feel like, no, the joke is good. Just like the actor didn't quite deliver on it. Yeah. You could come to work acting opposite one character one day, and then it could be somebody else. That's all I'll say. Yeah. That's all I say. I won't say obviously who got replaced, but I worked with on that show Kristen Chenoweth. She was not there the first day.
Yes, she came up short.
No, not she came up. Whoever she replaced. And I was like, my God. But the cast made me feel better, so they put me at ease.
Good. We got 2 more questions.
All right, so you have experience on camera and behind camera.
Yes.
What kind of advice do you have for anyone that's an actor, a writer, or a show creator?
I mean, it's so much that I'm still learning. Like, there's certain things like, and it's always changing. Yeah. This is, okay, I just came up with my advice in that moment. Yeah. Is like to track the changes and to stay relevant. In order to stay relevant and be ready, you have to track the changes. Like the fact that I'm gonna say Marilyn and Percy, you guys are doing a podcast. That's what's now. Like, TikTok, or the way in which we are sort of engaging each other. I think I'm learning how important it is to sort of stay on the pulse of that. You know, I mentioned having created my own thing, and that would be sort of maybe the secondary advice is like, don't simply wait for someone to sort of from some big production company or network come and hand you an opportunity. I feel like you should always be building your own. Yeah. But in building them, I honestly feel like you already heard me say, I love Alleyway. I love what we created. But I feel like I thought to create it about 2 years before I actually did it. Okay. It was like in my head and in my consciousness. Yes. And I honestly feel, as proud as I am of it, 2 years earlier, I feel like it could have been way more impactful because it would have been a little ahead of its time and, you know, on the cutting edge of people doing this would have been when, like, you know, Awkward Black Girl, this show that, you know, became Insecure. And yes. I would have been in that pool, you know, when she was doing it, as opposed to after everybody's like, oh, we know web series is a thing. We've seen it. And I'm so in the mix of so much other content like that, as opposed to being at the front edge. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, I still grew a lot from doing it. And I feel like got what ultimately out of it, what I needed to get out of it, that confidence and everything I talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. But I just, you know, that's one of those things, like, if I had moved when I thought to move, you know, it could have like hit even harder the way things are moving now. Like, just try to stay on the pulse, like, you know, TikToking, you know, figure out what that is and what's making that hit, and engage. And I feel like maybe this is advice maybe for creators and different people as we age. You know, there's maybe more resistance to kind of, I gotta learn something new. I just figured out Instagram. It's like, I just figured out Instagram, and now it's not on Instagram anymore. We've moved on to TikTok. It's like, dang it. Yeah. But I would say, like, try to stay plugged in and continue to make your own content.
Amen. Yeah. What are you looking forward to as you keep working, and what's on the horizon?
I've got a couple things. Like, again, in the vein of keeping my own content going, I have a couple films that I'm involved in that you see. One of them is called A Dark Way Out.
Ooh. Okay.
Of the alleyway.
Wow.
I partnered with a buddy of mine in writing this, and I'm also in it. But it's a sort of a home invasion thriller movie that we shot. I mean, it's done. Okay. It is being sort of shot to buyers and different things right now. So I'm looking forward to that. And I also co-directed a film called, it's over here. It's not, I should have put it behind me. It's over here on the wall, called The Fallen, which is, you can stream right now on All Black, which is a streamer owned by AMC. So that I want to do more directing. Like, you know, I directed my web series. I directed this movie. You know, I've been an acting coach and director for theater for a really long time. And so I think that's my next sort of more directing and not, I love directing my own stuff, but, you know, I kind of want to position myself to also direct, you know, comedy for TV. I think I would be, you know, stellar.
Okay.
Oh, you would be.
Yeah, that's what you got.
I'm kind of positioning myself for that and figuring out how to, you know, manifest that. So that's what I'm looking for.
Well, you saying it is going to manifest it. I can see it already. I see you in the future.
And you look much better than you look right now.
You know
that's
it.
Right.
You know it.
That is so impressive.
Isn't that beautiful?
You're just like the total package.
He is the total package.
Hey, that's what I'm working on it. You only got so much time. We know time is a precious commodity.
Yes, sir.
And I feel like, being really wise about where you sow your time and what you sow it into. I don't have that figured out. This is where I need some help, probably, and some advice.
Hey.
But that is the focal point. I'm trying to figure it out.
You join the club.
You want to do everything, but you can't. And sometimes I feel like trying to do too much waters down what you are doing. So,
that's true.
Figuring out.
Yeah, focal point. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Marcus. Where can we follow you on social media to support your future work or whatever you're doing?
Oh, please follow me. Instagram. That was me.
Okay.
When I said I figured out Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm really not on TikTok yet, but that's what I'm moving there. Follow me on Instagram, Marcus Folmar, at Marcus Folmar. Is the best place.
Well, thank you everyone for checking out this episode of Victoriously Crazy Podcast. You can find Victoriously Crazy Podcast on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm an old lady. I forgot. I'm just kidding.
Help us, Bennett. Help us, Bennett. That's what got Bennett.
All the places. Share, comment, like, especially comment. We love the comments.
I had a blast. I appreciate it. For even having me on and helping me to relive some wonderful memories too.
Amen.
Well, that's good. I mean, thank Bennett. When we decide to do this, he's a production supervisor. He finds our guests. He makes the initial contact.
Snaps for Bennett.
Yes, he's excellent. Excellent. So, are you ready to do Andre's Grandma Act Out with me?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Since you were kind of a driver on the bus, Percy is going to say that Grandma got you a chauffeur because you drive crazy. Okay. Ready?
Yeah. Roll. Grandma, listen, I know you having problems driving and everything. So guess what?
What?
I know you got things to do and whatever, but I got you a chauffeur. Yeah. Okay.
Is that you?
Hello, Grandma. Yes, I'll be your chauffeur.
Okay.
I've got years of experience, so
I don't care about that. I got my fur. Show me your fur.
No. No, I'm going to chauffeur you.
No, I got my fur. I got this off a bear that was eating out my trash can. His name was Dave. This is my fur. Where's yours?
Listen, I don't.
You don't have no fur? Skunk?
I didn't bring any fur.
Rabbit?
Quite frankly, I'm a
hedgehog. You got any hedgehog fur?
I'm a pacifist. I do not believe in killing animals.
Well, I do. Look at Dave. It's beautiful, isn't it? How you gonna be a chauffeur and you don't have no fur? How you not gonna show me any fur? Show me some fur.
Do you have a doctor's appointment or something I could run you to? It seems like maybe
I got Dave. I just rub it on my face and it calms me down. Do you have any fur to show me? Do you have any Chihuahua fur?
Well, listen. I do have a little Yorkie dog right here. This is my little buddy, Alan.
Okay, let's skin him.
Wait, no. Wait a minute.
Let's skin him.
No, if you want me to have fur, I can ride with him in my passenger seat, but that's it. He's just gonna ride. I can wrap him around my neck.
Oh, I like that. Let's go. I'm ready.
Okay. You still ain't told me where to.
The knife shop.
Sing.